So what's more important? Emily's home today. Cold there, Emily.
It is. I'm always cold.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. My grandson has a baseball game at 11, so I'm going to stick close to home today, but I'll see you guys
Okay.
in live next week.
Do you want us to come and support us?
It would be fantastic. Salinas Cowboys,
What time?
11
Oh, well.
in spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so the Buddha was a sentient being at one time. So um, and you can't get enlightened without sentient beings. But you need teachers. You need help, right? We need guidance. So you need Buddhas or guides. So I think it's a toss up. It might be a toss up. What's more important? But sometimes when you get involved in if you meet somebody like say His Holiness the Dalai Lama or Lama Yeshe, Lama Zopa, Dzong Rinpoche, Ladi Rinpoche, Lotra Rinpoche, these lamas that came out of Tibet who like started studying when they were quite young, right? So like one of the topics we're going to look at today is Tonlan, which was a secret practice forever and for a long time because not secret, well, secret in the sense that not many people knew about it, and it's like just opposite to how we usually think. A lot of Buddhism, I think, is just opposite to the way we usually think, you know. Um, so he was this one Lama was old and he got quite Kurdi Setchum Rinpoche, and he was diagnosed with cancer, and he kind of lit up. You know, he didn't get sad. Now I can really practice Tonlan. But he's been practicing since he was a child, you know. I mean, there's a right? His mind has been habituated to that. My mind, and often our minds are habituated to. I've got to bring it up now, okay? I'm just dying to bring it up. So, what would Jesus do, and what would Buddha do? So I have one that, if Dorothy can do it, we can do it. Okay? Do you know Dorothy? Thank you. So even though, and so there's a whole thing on that, and I think that I don't know if any of you got to look at YouTube and Lama Yeshe. That was the homework. Was that punishment or was that fun? That was okay. Okay. Yeah, I think so. So I'd like you to watch Wizard of Oz for next week, okay? The original. No, no Wicked. Go to the Judy Garland 1939. So if anybody can do if so so but we can change our habits. We can do it, right? Anything anything that we do keep doing can become easy. So it's easy now for us to follow probably not the yellow brick road. I'm kind of follow, often we're following other roads um, for happiness, for the answer, for so I think a, I think a bit that we look everywhere. So anyway, we habitually we can change. We can change if we work at it. So it's not doesn't come naturally a lot of times. Our instinct is to follow a mind of grasping onto things as existing from their own side, existing independently. Also, and so if we analyze, that's a mistaken view. We don't exist. We can't possibly exist that way. but yet intuitively, we kind of feel that in ourself, right? If somebody says Richard, I go, you know, usually it's in here. So some sort of lump, some lump, you know. But so we can break it down. So and really find the yellow brick road and the Emerald City. Anyway, try to watch it. Maybe you want to read some of the symbolism involved because I did. It just blew my mind. What's going on and if you look at it from a Dharma point of view. So it's always fun to do that. Try to look at things like how they're going to help your own inner journey, your own transformation. Yeah. Ah. Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Have to borrow it. So I feel like the Buddhist teachings are a bit like a metal detector. Okay. So we look all over the world. Look all over. We it'll be if I go do this, that'll bring me happiness. If I go do this, go do that. And sometimes we do things that I know from my own experience, we do things that are helping others. We think, oh, this is the way, and then we examine our motivation, and it's like, well, wait, I'm doing it just to make myself feel better, or I haven't really looked at my own stuff. I need to spend time doing that. So we look all over and then we go, wait, no, it's right here. It's right here. It's right in my own, Dorothy used the expression, my own backyard. So it's right in my own backyard. And so we figure we start digging with our hands. That's not a very good method. It takes too long because we're told it's like, you know, 3 feet down, somewhere in my 2 acres of my backyard. This treasure, that's like a wish. Yeah, I've got to bring this term up now. Wish fulfilling gem that's used in Buddhism, right? So if you had this wish fulfilling gem, you could ask anything of it, and it would grant it. Any material thing, and it's just like Fort Knox, right? So you've been told it's right in your own backyard. It's this treasure box, has the wish fulfilling jewel in it. You start digging with your hands. That's not so effective. You start shoveling. That's not so effective. So then you find the Buddhist teachings, which are like a metal detector, and you find exactly where it is. And then you have these methods they provide that are like backhoes, power tools, if we apply them, if we use them, if we get into them, if we, and that's where we went over refuge and we went over, if you sort of like say, okay, this is, it is in my backyard. I it is, I'm convinced, I have a map, people have told me, um, I feel it, I can feel it, and you start, then you get this metal detector, and it's like, wow, then now you know exactly where it is, you found exactly where it is. So I say this because it's really helpful. We all know this, to have enthusiasm and have some joy and some appreciation that, wow, you know, there's an example in Tibetan Buddhism, we talked about the precious human rebirth, perfect human rebirth, right? We talked about that, how this opportunity we have has all these conditions. We have our senses about us. We have this human form. We also have met some teachings. We have an opportunity. There's teachers around. Um, so we have this incredible chance. So we need to have, not need to, but it's like it's helpful to have, helpful and, not wait till like the end of the rainbow to be happy. Dorothy had a lot of joy, right? From the moment she started out. you know, right? A lot, I don't know, you watch it. She's like, so the joy is helpful. The joy gives us a lot of energy and inspiration. So, so we can do it if we put in the time. You know, thoughts may come up, I can't do it, it's not for me, takes too long. Uh, these are just they're limiting beliefs. We have such potential, we have such potential we have. Yeah. So there's a quote from not enough time, Tyler. I'd blab too much. It's not his fault. It's not Tyler's fault, but you're a good fall guy. Um, Kuna Lama was one of our teacher's teacher, and he was known for his bodhicitta. So bodhicitta is the highest, I think, I mean, most expansive motivation you can have, altruistic motivation. I want to become enlightened so that I can help others become enlightened, right? And I was talking to a person I love, admire, and live with. Shout out to Bev that about this the other day, and it's like there's three kinds. You can be like a shepherd where where you're not gonna you shepherd. Well, there's three kinds. I don't know. I get them mixed up. But one is you're not gonna get enlightened until everybody else is enlightened, right? You're gonna wait. You want everybody else to get enlightened before you do, or you're gonna get enlightened with them. Gonna do it together, or you're gonna lead them to enlightenment, right? So you can make aspirations of what kind of Buddha you want to be. Aspirations are really good, just like motivation's really good. So Kuna Lama, known as for his bodhicitta, he said, let's see, if one is in possession of bodhicitta, it's fine if you're sick. It's fine if one is sick. It's fine if one is dying. It's fine if one is studying. It's fine if one is meditating. One seems to be fine no matter what one is doing. Whether you're going to the bathroom, whether you're eating, whether you're lying down, whether you're, whatever we're doing, if we can drum up, and at first maybe it's artificial, it's fabricated, we say the words, and then the more we can keep it in mind, and we do meditations that support it, that develop bodhicitta, the more it can become more um, unfabricated or heart or just more natural, more instinctual. That can become instinctual. That can become the instinctual habit. Wow, I mean, that'd be wonderful, I think, wouldn't it? To have that kind of heart, the wish fulfilling jewel in your heart. So that's the wish fulfilling jewel is bodhicitta, not finding gold. I mean, that's just for this life, but this is for forever. For in your mind. If it's in your mind, then your mind, if mind is continuous, beginningless, endless, be always with you. So always a good thing to check up, why am I doing what I'm doing? Um, and then we can change it, Well, yeah, I'm just going out to have fun, but may everybody have fun, you know? May I bring some joy to others. Think about where the food came from when we go out to a restaurant and we're eating it, and wow, the people involved in bringing this food to this table, and not just those waiting on me, but couldn't have done it, I couldn't enjoy this without other people. Animals in the ground, I couldn't have enjoyed this food without animals in the ground, worms and things. So there's always an opportunity. So so today we're going to get more into how to cultivate bodhicitta, how to foster it, and there's going to be a raffle at the end. I wanted to have Lama Zopa's bodhicitta book, but it didn't come, so have to be next week. But another book. And also there's going to be a music interlude. Yeah. Huh? I didn't cue you up for that. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna do it short. It's short, but hopefully it's appropriate. Okay. So Buddha only taught to alleviate suffering. First noble truth. Truth of suffering. What's the cause? Here's how to eliminate the cause. Here's the path. It's possible, and then here's the path. So we've spent time uh, we spent time on that, looking at our situation a little bit, suffering, um, karma, cause and effect. How if we create the cause for happiness, we get happiness. Create the cause for suffering, we get suffering. It's sort of in our hands. Um, lot to do with attitude, right? So you know that pain is going to happen, but suffering's optional. You know that one? Is that bullshit or is that real? I can swear, right, Kira? Kira's here, so I can swear now. Little swearing. Uh, so what does that mean? I mean, that means that our mind has a lot to do with how we experience things, right? So if we can look at things differently, if we can check how we're looking at it and how we're maybe catastrophizing or thinking we can't stand it or this shouldn't be happening or ah, you know, and catch ourselves, then we can come back to, okay, this is happening. I have a human body and mind, and I'm not alone in this. These things come up, and I've dealt with things before. So we can use our mind to help us not suffer so much. So the suffering comes from a big mistake we make about how reality is. We hold on to when they say when they say self-grasping, you might hear that word. Um, the self, or you'll see a Heart Sutra, it'll say no self, or selflessness or identitylessness, right? So that self they're talking about, and it's defined in the West, an individual identity separate from others. So that's the conception that that's the self that we grasp to, and that's the mistaken view. We don't exist separate from others. I mean, it'd be good to debate. I mean, the Tibetans debate a lot, right? They do. They go out after all day of meditating and 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 yeah, meditating and studying and memorizing and in the evenings they're debating in the courtyard with each other compassionately. So as Dalai Lama will say, if you can convince me that there's no reincarnation, then I'll go with that. They used to believe the earth was flat. I don't know if his Dalai Lama did because I think he listened to BBC and read National Geographic. But if science could teach them that it wasn't flat, then he said, if you can teach me scientifically, show me, then I'll change what we've discovered through through centuries of self-reflection and introspection and just observing nature. So it's this thing that causes such problem. And like this whole the Lama Yeshe said, when Buddha spoke about suffering, he wasn't referring simply to superficial problems like illness and injury, but to the fact that the dissatisfied nature of the mind itself is suffering. The mind being agitated, slightly disturbed, not happy. You know that everybody's shaking their heads. We know that one. We know that one. I wake up with it. Hello. Right? And so then from that afflictions come, things that really mess with our mind, like, oh, you get jealous or angry, right? So from that distorted view of reality, then we start drawing conclusions. They're out to get me. Uh, you know, I really need this to be happy. I got to go digging in the neighbor's yard now, Huh? Can cause illness, stress. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. Takes its toll. They arise in our heart and mind, and they immediately create a state of deep disturbance and unrest, leading to further levels of sorrow and confusion. So we need to root that out. Huh? Smooth it out. Yeah, you can smooth it out. I think that's the beauty of Buddhist methods. There's lots of different methods to go at it. I've sat down and had conversations with, okay, fear, what's up? It's not happening right now. Yeah, because there can be a loss there. Yeah, you can feel a loss when you challenge certain aspects of who you've identified with, because that's what we do. We identify with that self, and we identify with those feelings. Like, I'm just an angry person, people say. That's just how I am. Take it or leave it. Okay, bye. No, bye bye. No, so there's lots of methods. Like, one is to, it's, yeah, love. It's gonna doesn't mean you can't be wrathful and be loving. Like, stop it. You know, enough already. I love you, but stop it. So there, so there are methods. Wheel of sharp weapons is a really powerful, forceful. That's why they're wrathful. Uh, Probably none here. Try to keep those a little more subdued, because people go, "What the hell? What is that?" You know, like that. And it's like, because it's like sometimes we need that energy to challenge our delusions and our afflictions, right? Wrathful. It's not angry, but wrathful. So it's compassionate. Yeah. So then we see that others are so you can go right at this self-grasping, right? Like, challenge that. This self that's we feel is independent. What was the Western definition? An individual entity separate from others. Wow. They even just spell it out. Like, it's visible. Like, not trying to hide anything about it. And we're brought up that way, right? You individuate, right? You rebel against your parents, right? That's part of growing up. Huh? You compete. That's right. Got to be the best. Yeah. You got to compete with those and be jealous of those better than you. Compete with those that are on the same, and then, those that are lower, you can, yeah, it's okay. You'll get better. Look down on them. So that I sets up those dynamics and doesn't see that we're all in this together. Uh, all want to be happy, don't want to suffer. So you can go at that, or this time in this class, we're going to go more against class. I don't know. We're going to go more about self-cherishing. So once we have that sense of importance, right? Then we can, we don't have that. I'm gonna get into that after the meditation, but we don't really have that word. There's lots of words that come out of Buddhism, that Tibetan Buddhism, that we don't really have in the West, like bodhicitta, samsara. I don't know. I don't know. Now I'll look it up, later. Um, so once we have this sense of self, then we cherish it. It's like we want to look after it, and it is instinctual. I think it's evolutionary too. Like that's how that's what we do, right? You've got a body, you go out the cave, out of the cave, and then you're looking for danger, right? What's going to threaten me? Because you're protecting yourself, right? We protect ourselves. So some of that is not needed anymore. Maybe it wasn't needed then. Maybe you could sort of look out and, oh, what a beautiful day, first thing. And maybe they did, instead of right away contracting around this sense of self and how we have to protect it and and bring it, take care of it. His Holiness says it becomes our true refuge. It becomes our boss, our best friend. So so Buddhism says check up. Is it really your best friend? Is it really leading us to happiness, lasting happiness? I don't know. I mean, check up. We all have to check up. And then it's good to discuss it with somebody and not just come. I think that's why they debate. It's good not to just come to your own conclusion and go, yeah, it's really good. It is my true refuge. Done. Or like kids in the high school I worked in, they would say, life is meaningless. Life is meaningless. And I thought, well, you're right. Your life is our life is, the school system sucked, okay? Sorry. The school system is built on a military industrial design, and it's, bells ring and you have to go to class, and it's kind of teaching you how to be a good worker. And you're learning subjects that have to do, and they've taken logic out of the course. There's no logic taught. That's the first thing you learn in Tibetan Buddhism. So, so now we have a chance to learn. Oh, the meaningful, thank you. Thanks, Kira. Needed that. So my question was, that's a really good question. Let's turn that into a question. Is life meaningful? Or how can I make life meaningful? What is a meaningful life? Maybe start with, why do you say your life is meaningless? Right? I don't know. But just to say it's meaningless without, that's a feeling, I think. That's a feeling of being trapped maybe, and schools there's some realism there and some honesty there, right? Not to be discounted at all, because I think it is pretty frustrating to be in a situation that you don't feel you have any control over, and you kind of forced to do this and you have to do well, and it's like, where's the social emotional intelligence class? What about my feelings? What about some self-empowerment? Yeah. So if we're going to turn to this, have a look at self-cherishing, try to develop bodhicitta. That's what we want to do. We want to try to develop bodhicitta. So that's a process. That's a process, and there's a couple systems, meditations, that systematic ways to go about that, which are, I think, it could be, it's fun, kind of fun to see that. And again, be grateful that there are these. Wow, you mean I could actually? That's what happened to me. I was confirmed a Lutheran in church, right? And I thought, okay, I like this compassion idea. I really do. I like that. I, but I leave church and I'm not seeing it a lot. I'm not seeing people my friends are fighting with each other. They hold grudges. There's all this like snickery stuff going on. And, maybe I was too sensitive. Okay. So Buddhism offers systematic training in how to become compassionate. Wow. Be compassionate. Oh, I'm compassionate. I am. I care about others. And then somebody cuts us off in traffic, or some politician says something and we get anger and we get, you know, ah, you know. Not that we can't have that with compassion, but our attitude is more aversion than compassion, right? So some of his bedfellows, ignorance's playmates, are attachment and aversion. You know, I want this, I don't want that, because it's me, right? I'm my true friend, and I have to look after my friend, and my friend doesn't like that. But actually, yeah. So it can be separated from our fundamental pure nature of our mind. These afflictions and this delusion can be, what'd you say? Smooth, smoothed out, wiped out, changed, taken, you know, not be dominating the story of who we are. Who would you be without your story? Byron Katie, right? Talked about her. So there's two systems. I'm going to talk about those, but let's do a short meditation first on a little bit on equanimity. Okay, but we're going to take. We've already done that before, and this is deepening. So we're going to go a little further, right, Tyler? We're going to go a little deeper. Yeah, I didn't wear my T-shirt from the aquarium. It said "Into the Depths" in Spanish, but it was going into the ocean depths. But here we're going into the depths of our minds, the final frontier. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, the mind is like the source of everything. I mean, it's like what's our experience and everything. But how much time do we sit and examine, like what's going on? Usually, it's like I don't want, it's like, ugh, I'm gonna go eat ice cream, go see my friends. It's like, I start obsessing about things, or I get anxious, or I get worried, or oh man, it's so boring, you know? And it's like, so it takes time to be able to shift gears. It's really shifting gears, I think. Huh? I don't know. So let's sit and now we're yeah. I'm not going to worry about time. There's a fourth time, okay? Maybe we'll go with that one. It's not past, present, or future. It's just I think it's indescribable. Okay. So most important is having just your back straight and maybe take a few deep breaths. Really fill up your tummy and your chest, consciously inhaling and exhaling. I just This is an analytical meditation. So that means if you did it on your own, you'd lead yourself through it. You could find one of these methods and we'll discuss those, but developing bodhicitta, you can find the lists of them. Um, and I don't have the book to give away this week, but Bodhicitta by Lama Zopa will be next week's book. And you can follow an outline, and there's commentaries and gives you ideas, but you want to make it as personal as possible so that you can gender an experience. So just like myself, all beings want happiness. All beings don't want to suffer. So I can think of first start with your friends and those close to you. Often we see others as objects. We're a subject and they're separate from us. But in this sense, they're just like us. They have this same wish to be happy and not to suffer. It seems hidden at times. Sometimes we think people are just being mean and but we can trace that back to the root delusion and the afflictions that spring from it, from this wrong view, and that why be mad at them? Be mad at the anger. Be mad at anger, and I've got some in me, so I can have a look at that. So just like me, they want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. We're all tormented by these delusions. We've got that in common. Got that going for us. Everybody everybody needs help. They're just like me. We need other people around us. Grocery stores, people who make the roads. So when we make these divisions between ourselves and others, it's often very projection. We went through that meditation of friend, enemy, stranger. It's often just labels we put on people. Sometimes they're just based on current events. What have you done for me lately? Kind of attitude. So we can own that and see, wow, just actually I never knew that person. I didn't know them for a long time. Then I didn't like them, and now, wow, I got to know them a little bit. So all of those are labels I'm putting on them, so I can see that we're all the same. We want to be happy, don't want to suffer. And now expand that to developing appreciation. Not just that we're the same, but this profound appreciation for them. And I would sometimes hear from the um, teens that I worked with that, why should I appreciate my parents? I didn't ask to be born. It's their job to take care of me. So, so we can have a look at that, and I think that changes. That's not a fixed concept. It's just a concept, so it's not fixed view of their parents. I've seen it change to where appreciation arises. It's focusing on the things that we can appreciate about somebody. Our experience is based on what we turn our attention to. It's not to be turn a blind eye or not be cautious of a snake in the grass, a rattlesnake, but we can still you know, be kind to the snake, kindly cautious. So appreciation for all that's provided to us. You can start right when you're where you're sitting, having a warm room, how that was provided, how it's set up, being able to get here in a car or however you got here. What all of that entails, all the people working to make that possible, all the electricity. Oh my gosh, water, toilets flushing. How do you even make a toilet? I looked it up. I mean, you can look these things up and see what the people who do these jobs, what they do. what kind of situations they have, what their life's like, their work's like. I mean, put yourself in their shoes. Appreciate them. They're kind. They're say, well, they're not really being kind to me. They're doing it for money. Well, our experience is that it's very helpful to us. I mean, it's if they didn't do it, that wouldn't, make our life more difficult. And it's not just material things, it's the education, the people who taught us to talk, to walk, to helped us to learn to walk, to talk, to learn the alphabet, to read, to think critically. People who showed us how to be loving and kind and respectful. So this sense of equanimity we can expand to starting to appreciate even people we don't even know. We walk in the store and walk down an aisle and we see people. We can appreciate them. Wow, just and just imagine, you know, being them, wishing them well, wishing them well. They're just like me. They want to be happy. May they be happy. That would be great. Thank you, all the people working in the store. People work at night stocking shelves. They work during the night. Janitors work during the night. All the people in hospitals. Hospitals just wait, if we get sick, the hospital's there. People trained, ready to help us. Okay. So, gonna bring that one to a close. So you could go on and on with that, on and on. And you don't have to be sitting meditation to do to do these to have these thoughts about others. And be doing anything. So we're just going to do I'm going to cut it short. I'm going to have to cut it short, but I'm going to do a little presentation. Then we're going to take a break, and then we'll do a meditation. Okay. I like that. Yeah. A new mudra. Love yourself, huh? Love yourself, love others. Which self, though? Aha. Okay. So let's take a look at this self-cherishing attitude a little bit, okay? So just to start a little so there's this this guy's driving on the freeway, right? And he gets a call from his significant other, right? And she says to him, um, be careful out there. There's been a report of this guy driving the wrong way on the freeway. And he says, one guy, there's like hundreds of them. So yeah, so so that we don't get it, right? We don't get it sometimes. And it like, I mean, how many times that happened to me the other day? I was at a exercise class, right? So it's like 35 people, and we're all doing the exercise, and you can't always hear the instructor, right? And so I'm into it, and I look up, and everybody's doing something else, and I go say, "What's wrong with them? Don't they know the That, oh, it's me, right? So, so it's always this kind of check up and see what uh, where we're at, kind of thing. So there are these experiments done on type A and type B personalities. Maybe you've heard of these. Well, A is, you know A? Okay. What's A? Controlling, got to be this way. Maybe little, could be I could be a poster child. One time. All the shoes had to be. My mom was a clean freak, so a bit obsessive. You could say maybe, hard worker, long hours, stressful job, right? B is more artsy. Is that, yeah? B is a little more art, right? Everybody on that page on that one, bro? Huh? Laid back, artsy, creative, you know, chill, a little more chill. And now that's a judgment by type A on them that they're messy. The other type B would say they're like, anal kind of, what do you call them? Like, yeah, need to relax. So these was done, and people with type A were more prone to illness. Jason talked about stress, right? More illness, more problems. Okay. Okay. Dalai Lama brings up, no, they did a little more study on that one. They went a little deeper, and they found those that say I the most, use I did this, I did that, I want that, they had more stress. So that was a defining characteristic. So this self-centeredness, right, can lead to more problems, health problems, stress problems. Okay? The other one that happened was in the educational system. They had this self-esteem movement. You remember this one? Maybe you were involved in it. If you raise children's self-esteem, they'll perform well. So I want you to go home and I want you to do a picture of yourself, put yourself in the middle, and around it everything that's important about you, everything wonderful about you. Draw me a picture. You're the best. You're the best there, you're the best there can be. Okay, you missed 9 out of 10 on the test, but you got one right. Way to go. Yeah. So this went on for a while, and they found out it just raised narcissistic kids. Kids who were really self-centered, thought they were the best. They wouldn't, they didn't listen to criticism. They didn't really change much. Felt entitled, right? So not only are we up against this, but it's reinforced a lot in our culture, right? To be this way. So we're really swimming against the current sometimes, right? And that's why sometimes people just sort of give up and start going with the flow, right? It's too hard to be good, I'm just going to make money. And I have to do that. I'm going to have to be, a little, I'm going to have to work my way up, and that's going to be the competition and, like this. And, it's just like, that's the way of the world. Dog eat dog. I mean, whoever came up with that expression? That's sad about dogs. So, so I got curious because in the Eskimos have like 50 words for snow because it's really popular. It used to be. It used to be more popular where they live. Now it's melting. But anyway, but we compete with them with words for me, me, right? Narcissistic, egomaniac, uh, solipsist. You heard that one? Solipsist? It's like worse. I think it's worse than a narcissist. Yeah, because you just want attention, and you're very self-centered and authoritarian, and I don't know if we could come up with any examples, but we could work on that. Patrimonial, autonomous, independent, ego, individual, self-centered, wrapped up in oneself, self-importance, self-esteem. I've talked about self-absorbed, egocentric, self-seeking, self-interest, self-regard, looking after number one, self-love, self-serving, selfish, preoccupied with oneself, unkind, uncharitable, inconsiderate, uncaring. And then I added self-cherishing. And some, we need to look after ourselves. I'm not debating that, but it's when it's too much. I'm the most important person in the world. I'm number one. Me against the world. Wait, you're part of the world. How can we not be part of the world? You know what I mean? So we have to sort of challenge that thinking. We have to, it's going to come up. Well, maybe, hopefully it won't come up for you, but it comes up. And then we have to go, wait a minute, what? Say what? And we can do it we can be smooth. We can be, use humor, like, you again? Hello? Want some tea? Let's talk. You know what you said the other day that you thought was so clever? That really hurt their feelings. So we need to like adjust our values a little bit. That's why the whole thing about there's like the 10, the things like 10 non-virtues are to help us. They help others, but they're to help us, not suffer. That's you don't want to suffer, then don't cause it. So all that checking up. Um, this is Lamiyesh again. In my mind, one of the beauties of Buddhism is that it offers us a practical training for our mind. It doesn't say bodhicitta is fantastic because Buddha said so. Instead, it gives us the methods for developing such an attitude, and we can then see for ourselves whether it works or not, whether it is fantastic or not, right? So we have to try it out. We have to try these methods out and see and notice, and then use our metacognition, awareness of what's going on in our mind. Like, wow, that's different. That my day was different today because I was trying to see others as wanting to be happy and not wanting to suffer just like me. Like, take one theme and carry it through the day. Or I was trying to be kinder, you know. So then self-cherishing, or the antidote or remedy for self-cherishing, is bodhicitta, or cherishing others, right? Cherishing others. So it's an antidote. It's a remedy, right? It's just like, if it's dark, you turn on a light. If it's cold, you turn up the heat. If if I'm self-cherishing, cherish others. That makes sense? Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, yeah. Definitely. 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 So that's why we're like spent, on the four facts of life, and we're suffering and impermanence and death, and we have this great opportunity, and that was really for ourselves. That's really to help ourselves take care of ourselves, see that, we don't want to suffer, so this is what I need to do not to suffer. Um, and I don't want to, I can see that even if I get if I get a nice place to live and all that, it's still going to be suffering in my mind. So I want to go deeper on that. I really want to I really want to get out of this suffering situation for myself. Definitely for myself. Definitely. And then the mind turns to, wait, I'm not, I'm not all alone here. And I haven't been able to do all this work without really other people's helping me. And so that awareness comes in. So Mahayana, or Tibetan Buddhism, Mahayana Buddhism says, just start with that motivation right away. Get that in there. Get that in there, even if it's just you're just saying it, but plant a seed, because there are people who just, they're in the system. They talk about people who just say, I just want to get liberated from suffering, and they get stuck there. And then to get enlightened, they need this motivation of bodhicitta, because you're not alone. And so that brings you and opens up. And it also, I think it can help us with the problems we're having. if we have that openness. You know, it can help us um, when we're down or when we're, you know, to think, oh, I have, you know, these other people really important to my life, and you know, and love for them can help us feel it more for, yeah, not feel alone. So if we get depressed, we can think, well, you know, I do have a good situation. I am okay, right? I mean, we can use, yeah, yeah.
Hi. The I statement concept, I was, learning nonviolent communication.
Oh, iMessages.
Messages, which is
Yeah,
all from your feelings,
yeah,
responsibility,
definitely. Yeah.
which is a word I a lot.
Yeah, so it's definitely. So I think, and again, it goes back to that the I and the self that they're talking about is holding on to this concrete sense of self. You know, that's the culprit. So it's like we're still have an I. The I, the self, doesn't go away because we feel things, and we, you know, we have and we do things, and there's results. So it doesn't. That's that can happen. You know, we start saying, okay, that's the problem. Ah, you know, like there's no self. There is a self. It's just not that one that we hold on to that's so concrete and solid and independent and unitary and permanent. It's not like that. I mean, check up. Maybe you'll find it. You know, maybe it's findable, but it hasn't. You know, so it's not discounting that. And iMessages are I've used them. They're, you know, but I had so when I feel that when this happened, I felt this way because. Okay, so you're taking ownership for how you feel. You're not blaming some. Well, that's a big thing with the concrete eye is we're blaming others for our problems. Yeah, right. I'm okay. It's you. You know, because it's hard to be. We take it as criticism then. Like if we start examining, we start, oh, I'm a terrible person. We get shame and guilt and like that because it's feels it's so solid, and we think we're under attack. Yeah, I know. So, but in order for me to do that iMessage, I had to spend a month or two calming down before I said it, before I wrote it, and then I had to run it by a couple people. See what I mean? Like I couldn't if I did it out of anger, you know, when you did this, I felt this way because you're a jerk. It doesn't work, right? It wouldn't have worked. And I didn't expect it to work. You know, but it was a great relief for me because I was unable to express my feelings about how something was affecting me. Does that make sense? Yeah. So iMessages are fantastic.
Earlier you said something about you still got to watch out for the snake in the grass.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's the conflict I get into is I'm trying to be practice Bodhisattva, and yet I sense that there's someone I'm trying to be compassionate towards in the situation
Yeah.
that
That what?
means me harm.
Oh, means you harm. Yeah.
You know, and it gets confusing. It's like, okay, I don't I don't want to expose myself to harm,
Yeah.
but
You
at the
don't do
same
that.
time I'm trying to grow beyond self-cherishing.
Right. Right.
That it gets confusing.
Right. No, you don't want to put yourself in harm's way. If we're not you, it's sort of a graduated thing, you know. Um, but like like the practice of generosity is it's like the perfection of generosity is an attitude you've perfected. It's not that you've been able to give everybody everything they want. That's not the perfection of generosity. So in the beginning, it is a compassionate attitude. It may not be engaged. So there's wishing bodhicitta and engaged bodhicitta. So you're wishing others could be happy, and then you know you'd like to do something about it. So maybe then that comes, you go out and you do something, but and somebody has to be It's not always like like the Buddha, somebody came to him and was really angry and he didn't get angry back. And he said something like, well, if I don't get angry back, whose anger is it? I mean, if I, you know, if I, you- so you, the compassionate maybe is not buying into the cycle of I think what it's called is a reciprocal interaction pattern. I did that. I was in one of these big time. So really, I'm going to say this. Okay. So maybe it's helpful. But yeah, I'm always feel on time. So, my dad, I didn't know this until I went to grad. I mean, I didn't become aware of it. So we have to be patient with ourselves. We don't know everything. We do the best we can, right? Like to blame yourself as a child or feel a certain way. It's like, yeah, I felt that way then. What would I do now? Well, if I was an ideal parent to myself, this is what I would have done. This is what I would have liked. My dad wasn't capable. That's what he did. That's what he was capable of doing at that time, right? Why didn't he treat me better? Well, he couldn't, you know? So I would get a reciprocal interaction pattern with my partner where if there was a conflict, she would this is my perspective. She would raise her voice. I would withdraw. Okay? So me withdrawing caused her to raise her voice more. The more she raised her voice, the more I withdrew. Reciprocal interaction pattern. Holy schmoly. I was starting to feel miserable. And she was going to talk to other people about things, right? Yeah. So fortunately, I was in grad school then, in my 40s. I mean, these things can take a long time to discover, right? And and if you've got, other things going on, it can take longer. So so I realized, shit, I learned this from my dad. I learned that way of reacting to conflict from my dad. I went, wow. If I learned it, I can unlearn it. If I learned it, I can learn something else. Wow, that was like, wow, I'm going to try that. So next time she brought something up, I stayed in the conversation and she ran for the door and said, I want a divorce. Yeah, because, huh? Wait, there's more. Oh, what is it? What's this thing? If it hasn't turned out well in the end, then it's not the end or something. If it hasn't turned out well, anyway, there's one of those. So anyway, so then I went, oh, and so that scared the shit out of me, right? It comes from fear. So I withdrew. Oh my God, divorce, going out the door. So then I went, no, you got to stay in there. So I said, okay, well, if we don't work through this, it's my view, we'll just go to somebody else and have to work through it with them. I mean, I'm not going to be any different. And you're not, people do that. I'm just going to change partners. So I said, so if you really meant you wanted to, she said, no, I got scared and it meant, where's the door? I want to out of here, if it gets bad. Okay, so that's not my intention. I don't want to make you feel that way. That's not my intention. So can you show me how I can say it so that you can hear it and not be afraid? So we started meta communication. You start talking about how you talk, right? So, yeah. So then we did, and it started to work out. Okay. So and some things, you have a spout with somebody, and you have to find the right. You don't give up. Never give up. You can find a time. Keep looking. Maybe they change. Maybe something happens in their life. Happened to my brother, and then we were able to have conversations about things that we couldn't before. Now I changed too, but don't get you just like keep working on yourself. Keep working on yourself. Keep de-escalating, de-escalating yourself. and changing your and having a changing your view of them, that they're some sort of fixed thing, you know, like my concept is how you are. That's all we have in a way, right? We did that whole eye thing. We take in light, we transform it, our eye changes into electrical signals, and our brain interprets it. So it's like I'm reacting to an image. I don't know. That was a long way, Jason. I don't know. Well, I was trying to answer the question, but I don't know. It's not always, I mean, I've seen llamas who, 92 years old, and it's like, just because somebody gets irritated at you doesn't mean it's your fault. It's not your fault. I mean, you're doing what you're doing. They come and get angry at you. I mean, how you react is on you, but what they're doing is their mind, and we can have compassion knowing that that is uncomfortable for them and for you and for me. But I mean, sometimes you see some llamas, it's not like they're insensitive. They're incredibly sensitive and have all the time in the world for you when you're with them, and very attentive and have good insight about what you can do, what you should do. And um, so it's a trick, I think, to be compassionate and not be so self-absorbed. Yeah. Was that one of the self-absorbed? Was that in there? I don't know if I put that one down. Oh well. Okay, so we're running out of time. So there's a 7-point thought transformation. We touched on that a little bit before. Equanimity. They both start with equanimity, the meditation we just did. Both these thought transformation means we're going to change our mind from self-concern to bodhicitta. Wow. So I don't have to it's not like there's a way to do this. There's a way to do this. We can work on it. And if it's easy, I mean, liberation in the palm of your hand, I'm sure he goes through these. He definitely does. Lama Zopa's book, Bodhicitta, incredible. Um, and you find your own examples. Because sometimes the examples you can't relate to, but don't throw, I hate this expression, baby out with the bathwater. I looked that up, and it's just like, what? Huh? Yeah, the baby got the last bath. Excuse me? Is that for real? Somebody said, no, that couldn't be possibly real. Somebody made that up. So, you got to make it fit for you. Use your own examples, bring it to life. So that one had, recognizing all beings have been your mother. So, wow, that's loaded, right? That means I got to think about past lives and future lives, and all beings have been my mother. What? So I just took that one when I had to give a talk on it in a retreat. It's like my own mother. Okay, pick somebody who's been nice to you. If it's not your mother, pick somebody else. Could be anybody. Could be a teacher I think. You find somebody that you can really feel their kindness. Okay? And then just really get into it. I mean, boy, I never thought about. And then it made me think about things my dad had done for me that I never thought of. He just had a bad image, you know, in my mind. And then I started, wow, he did that? Who does that for somebody, you know? And so then you start to, then or you could, yeah. And then it's like, oh, they've been all beings have been my mother. They've been so kind to me. I want to repay their kindness, right? I want to repay their kindness. Like who doesn't not want to repay kindness, right? Somebody, they help you in the store and you say thank you. You kind of repaying their kindness, or you want to help them, right? And what's the best way to help? Well, I could give them material things. I could give them protection, love. We could talk, some ways that they could work on their problems, different ways, okay? And then the uh, developing compassion and love, right? Developing not wanting others to suffer, compassion. Wanting others to be happy, love. Okay, then the special attitude. What the heck is that? I thought that was bodhicitta. This comes before bodhicitta, and it's like, I'm going to take on the responsibility to get enlightened so that all beings can become enlightened. I want all beings to become happy, like with no suffering at all. I'm going to take on that responsibility to bring that about. I'm going to devote some of my life to that, or all of my life to that. I'm all in. The poker, it's not a limit game. I'm all in. Oh, I'm in, but something. Yeah, over here I can't. Even in your job, you can turn it around. Even if there are people that are out to get you, and it's dog eat dog. You can turn it around. So the special attitude that Lama Zopa would say, by myself alone. So there's that I, by myself alone. I mean, you can't, I mean, you need a really expansive view of I to take that on, right? So it's a loaded statement, right? It's really loaded with, oh, what's the I, and I need to look at that, and so, and then bodhicitta. So that's the six causes and the one effect is bodhicitta. Okay. Okay. So there's that one, and then the other one is exchanging self with others. So that one starts again with equalizing oneself with others. And then you look at the faults of self-cherishing, which, I have a list. I mean, it's like the list for I mean, I could go on and on. But you come up with your own list. First you do the equalizing, right? I like the one, it's like the parts of our body. They work together like they're kind of equal, right? So if we just see all of humanity, we're just part of humanity. We're just like a cell in the body, in that body. And we're part of it. And it's important. And we have a responsibility. um, so then the faults of self-cherishing, we're not refuting self-care. Not that at all. This is the one that causes problems that we're after. We're after the I that causes problems. The one that's, um, huh? Separates and feels all on its own. Yeah. Um, so the theme of this is that it's really hard when we operate under self-cherishing to ever find any satisfaction. It's really hard to fill up something that's um, a myth and so strong. And so, like, I mean, we can all check this out. I really want this. This is going to bring me happiness. And then it falls apart, or it doesn't work anymore. So a more expansive view would understand impermanence and suffering nature of our existence. And we're all in this together. And I want to dig deeper, go deeper. Okay, here we go. Music interlude, yeah. You ready? Yeah. No. Okay. Couldn't hear it? Really? Aw, see, you can't get no satisfaction. She got it. She got it. Okay. Um, hold on, John. Then cherishing others, we turn to that, and we know about people who like do community service or random acts of kindness. We look, yeah, we like, wow, fantastic, and we can rejoice in them doing that. If we rejoice um, in others, what happened? Okay. If we rejoice, then we get that's good. That's good. We get credit. Credit for that. Rejoicing is really good. It's one of the easiest way, and just feel it. Feel it sometimes, instead of like you were doing prostrations, and I was standing there. I was rejoicing in you doing prostrations, and it's like, wow, what a lazy loaf I am. No, see, you don't want to put a but on it. No buts, no buts. Just rejoice. I was just so really happy. Like um, so when you see somebody do something nice, rejoice. Fantastic, wonderful. Um, so many things we could list. Okay, helps our health, right? We talked about that. And then you actually exchange yourself with others. Instead of focusing solely on our own welfare, we focus on other people's welfare. Now, don't spiritual bypass, which means you neglect working on yourself. All this is based on working on ourselves and not exposing, but working on things that are troublesome for us. That's taking care of ourselves. That's really self-love. Like well, you withdraw every time. I have to rejoice in that too. Okay, I'm really happy I learned that. Thank you, grad school or wherever I learned it. Thank you, one of those 500 different models of counseling. I mean, it was like a light bulb. Wow. It meant that it wasn't me. That's where the solid sense of I comes in. That's me. I withdraw, and then I went, oh, that's really good thing. I'm the good one here. I'm not fighting. She's all getting angry, right? So the I that I is the one we want to find, and those are good times to find it because it's big. Like it's exposed, right? And you say, oh, that's the one. You're the troublemaker, holding it, thinking you're so hot, hot, huh? Stuff. Thank you. That's what we need. That's what we need. Thank you. You think you're so hot stuff, and then you do it, and then you think you're hot stuff. That's it, and it's causing problems for you. Then you recognize it's causing problems for you, and so for the one who wants to be part of it. I think there's a part of us that wants to be part of it, wants to feel that connection, right? And we don't always get it. Oh, I'm not giving you a break. Nothing's happening here. Sorry. Um, so there's lists of those, and then you do Tonlan. What's Tonlan? Okay, we were going to take a break, but now, and when are we going to have a discussion? Okay, that's what they do. One stands up, one sits down, and the one standing poses questions like that. Oh, I don't know. There's something about the mala too, goes up on the arm. I don't know. The Dalai Lama had to go through that also. He also had to sit and take questions from several. of his peers, you know. I wonder if they made them easy for him. Probably not. I doubt it. I don't think they had to. I don't think they had to. Um, so I want to do a little, just just do a little Toneland, okay? Just to get a taste. All right. So this is actually doing. Oh, it's an imagination, but it's active. It's kind of involving love and compassion. It's actively loving and having compassion. Okay? Okay? We don't have much time. So just a few minutes. And then we'll have the raffle. And then your homework is what? Wizard of Oz. And please read any kind of, you know, write up on it you want. I mean, I read one that just blew my mind, you know. I mean, to go on that journey, you need the heart, you need heart, which the Tin Man was looking for. You need intelligence, which the Scarecrow was looking for, and you need courage, that the Lion was looking for. And Dorothy needed all of those to follow the yellow brick road. And then what happened at the end, and the good witch of the north shows up. Anyway. Okay, so a little Toneland, okay? So back is straight. Take some deep breaths. Let your body relax. All the way down to your toes. So we have some sense of this. There's the expression, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I don't know if I've ever said it, but I think it's in our culture. So we're feeling so bad, we wouldn't want somebody else to feel like that. We're feeling so bad, we wouldn't want somebody else to feel that way. It's amazing that, and when you look at it from a Buddhist perspective, it's so on Toneland, you can use your breath doing this, but we won't do that because you need to kind of set your own pace. But you would inhale the suffering of others, taking in their suffering, and it goes right to this concrete, contracted concept that we have of ourselves. It causes so many problems for ourselves and others, and it breaks it up. And in its place is this vast awareness, a wish-fulfilling jewel. And from that, we give others whatever they need. So we're bringing in the suffering of others. It's smashing the very root of suffering. It's smoothing it out. It's melting it. It's dissolving it, transforming it into a wish-fulfilling jewel that's filling the vastness of our awareness, open, free, freely given. So you can do this specifically with issues, people you know. One good way to start is like you can think of yourself when you were younger and some suffering you were going through. And you can take that suffering in from that younger you and give that child whatever they need in that situation. Give them the love they didn't get or the protection they didn't receive, the attention, compassion. And really feel it's transformed the situation. You know, sometimes we have to imagine something's going to happen before it happens. We have to kind of make a make an imprint in our mind about how we would like to be. So then we can think about friends that are in hospitals, friends that are sick, friends that get headaches, chronic headaches, and take on that pain, and not just pain like physical pain or mental pain, but that deep dissatisfaction or depression or sorrow, and bring it in and just have it transform that concrete ball of ego, the one that's not really built on any steady foundation, but has had a lot of influence. And it just becomes vast awareness, a wish-fulfilling jewel, giving them all they want, relieving their pain, filling them with love. And then we widen the sphere of influence to include people around us. Animals that we might see that are suffering. Helps us have empathy. So the side effect of this, it really helps our mental health. And giving them not only relief from their suffering and love, but hoping that they can find the metal detector that we found and find a path to be totally free of any kind of suffering and become enlightened. Enlightened, become, awake, aware. Their awareness lights up their mind. You can see it for what it is. Become kind, loving. So just do that for a minute on your own. Taking in suffering of others, developing compassion for them, having it hit the target of self-cherishing, selfish concern, that big rock, self-grasping, holding on to that mistaken view, smashes it up, and pure awareness with its wish-fulfilling jewel gives them all they want, loving them, caring for them. Okay, be very gentle with this. Maybe experiment with it. Okay. And we'll rejoice that we even hear the words love and compassion, bodhicitta. Okay. I mean, it is almost 2 hours long, Wizard of Oz. Who watched Lamieshi? Tom? Yeah. Yeah. How was it, Tom?
I found it easier to turn the volume off and just watch. It was on YouTube and just put the subtitles.
Yeah.
Then I could stop it and take some notes also. Some of the things that he said, but it was the first time I'd listened to him.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, his voice is something else. His English was really
This was
interesting.
1983 in Geneva.
Yeah.
Is he still alive? No, he's not. Okay.
He died that year, I believe so.
Thank you.
Yeah, anyway, we can bring that up sometime. His death, and he was cremated at Vajrapani, Boulder Creek. That was unusual. Yeah, Terry,
Story about Tongvan, that practice.
good.
I was at a grief retreat for primarily parents who had lost primarily children to either overdose or suicide. I was co-facilitating. And the first one that I went to, I sat there and I could hardly stand to sit in the room because the grief, you could just cut it with a knife. It was just so thick. 6 months later, after learning the Tongvan practice, I went back. And I just imagined taking on, there was 20 grievers there, taking on all of their suffering. And it was unbelievably life-changing, the power of this practice. The first time I sat there telling myself, how in the hell am I going to help these people when I can't even hold it together myself? And then the next time I just felt this, my Buddha nature, there's no other way to describe it, this Buddha nature, the bodhicitta, that yes, I can do this. I can be with these 20 grievers with their sadness. This practice is just unbelievably powerful. That's it. I just wanted to share that.
Aw, that's so good. It does take a brave heart. It does. Yeah, it takes a brave heart to try it and see what happens. Mm. So I always get curious how it works. How does it work, And I remember once I was in retreat, and I was kind of a complicated practice to do. And so I've taken you have to get commentaries on it, and then you read the commentaries, and it's like some of these methods are complicated. And I just thought, well, I don't know. It's like I'm driving a Mercedes Benz, brand new Mercedes Benz, and it's really comfortable and a really nice ride, and it gets me there. I don't have to know every detail about how the engine works. You know what I mean? Like all these questions about how does it work and why, and I mean, you want to know some because if it breaks down, you want to know how to fix it, or you want to know who you can go to fix it. And sometimes that's what people who meditated would do. Something would happen, and they'd go talk to their teacher about it. Usually in the old days, they would have that. You'd meditate, and then you'd get to go check up, and then you'd get next instructions, or you'd get some correction on what you're doing, or you'd get, yeah, that's the right way or something. But, you know, you can tell by trying it out and see what it does, and then everybody it's going to be, um, yeah, thank you, Terry. Really, I'll pay you later. Right? So, bad joke. Really bad joke. Hey, John. Oh, yeah. That was yeah. Yeah, what were the six things and then bodhicitta? So is seeing all beings as your mother, and that they've been So that's big, right? So first you work on your own mother and see her kindness. First, then it's see their kindness. And so if you work on your own mother or somebody who is really kind to you, and then realize that uh, if you do some research about reincarnation, maybe it'll loosen up our view that this is all we got. You know, we're born and we die, that the mind goes on. And so if the mind is beginningless and endless, then we've had countless relationships with each other, countless. And so I've been your mother, John, and you've been my mother at some point. And maybe we weren't human. Maybe I was a cat, and I was a kitten, and you were my mother. I want to thank you for that, by the way. I mean, who knows, I mean, sometimes it's just what effect does it have on the mind? That's the other thing. I'm not saying, yeah. Do you know what I mean by that? It's like, I've heard teachers say that. It's like, I don't know if it's an authentic lineage, but what kind of effect did it have on your mind? Did it transform your mind to be more compassionate and caring? Well, then, yeah, maybe it's okay. I mean, lineage is good, really good. I'm just saying, but sometimes that's said too. Oh, I did. I quit. I quit. I'm not trying to avoid the question. So- Repaying their kindness, right? And then compassion and love, and then the special attitude, which is taking on the responsibility to free them of suffering. And then bodhicitta. So the best way to do that is for me to get enlightened as quickly as possible, like clean up my stuff and let my best qualities shine forth, so then I have the best chance of helping people I come in contact with. Doesn't mean we can always help them, because there's karma. People have their own destiny and we have ours, and sometimes I know that's with me. My wife will tell you that. She tells me to do something, oh yeah. And then 2 weeks later, I hear it from my friend, and I go home and tell her, oh, you know what Neil said? He said I should da 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 da. And she reminds me, yeah, if you're only listening, could have saved yourself 2 weeks. I shouldn't say it that way. It's very kind. But you know what I mean? Like there's got to be a connect. Got to be listening, and got to be a connection, and so. But you're in your best possible position. It's like a highly trained surgeon. If they're in the best possible position to help somebody, then more chance they can. So then the last one's bodhicitta. So the cause, those are the causes, and then the effect is bodhicitta. Tyler, how about online? Oh, Terry and Pete. Terry and Pete.
Is it 2 R's, Terry? One P-E-R.
Are you in?
Kira, is your name as well? It is now.
What's your name again? Monica. Is Monica in there?
Then I'll put it.
Monica. Monica.
Okay, I will need one.
We have to make all the pieces of paper the same size, huh? Okay. Even Toto has meaning in Wizard of Oz. Huh? Loyal, trustworthy, faithful, unconditional love. How do we know that? Tyler, you're on for drawing, right? You're on for drawing this. Yeah, I can't be responsible.
Pictures I draw.
Yeah.
It's enough if you can't find.
Okay, and we'll get them to you if you're at home. We'll get them to you. Okay, first, Deborah. What we listened to was Mick Jagger, I get no set. Okay. You dropped her note? You're on it. Richard. No, just kidding. Wait, Emily. Oh no, she was here. She was on. Woohoo! Salinas. Salinas Cowboys, is that it? Okay. Get her address. And I'll mail, or if she, see if she's coming next week. Let me know. I'll put this in here. So either I can mail it to her or she can come and get it next week. Yeah. Yeah, I have the old 1986 edition. Kathleen McDonald. I wanted to have Lama Zopa's Bodhicitta book because of the topic, but it didn't come. So next week. Okay. And last week was Power of Meditation by Lama Zopa. Deborah, did you want to say something? No. Oh, friendly.
I was just saying thank you.
Oh, thank you, Deborah. Sorry about the music. All right, groovy. I think we dedicated already.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the flags. Can go up and do prayer flags, huh, Tyler? Oh, wait. Announcements. Okay.